someone who put a phone on a tree outside of Olympia in a forest, and it's not attached to anything, but the people use it to they pick up the receiver and they speak to people who have passed, and they just say things that they wanted to say. And the idea has spread. It was a Reuters story, actually. Super interesting and lovely,
That's so Olympian. We really are the creative zone. And I think there's even a sign on the freeway, entering the creative zone. It's a very alternative community. Kurt Cobain used to have his band in one of the upper little places. And so a lot of artists, that's what attracted us. They had a species parade where all ages, children and their grandmothers, would dress as crabs and squids, and the clever costumes. We saw that parade and we said, this is our kind of place.
That's the place to be. All right, so I want to welcome the people who are joining from YouTube now, and I'm going to go ahead and officially start after our chatting there. So I do this every time just for people who don't know us and who've never heard of FMBR. I want to say good evening or good afternoon, and welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Judy Kitt. I'm the president of the Foundation for Mind Being Research. We're a nonprofit, all volunteer run organization based in the San Francisco Bay Area. We've been around for 43 years. Exploring the bridges between science and consciousness. So we were founded in 1980 by scientists and alternative healers and shamans and artists who were really trying to understand the nature of reality. And we're joining like-minded people around the world to help move this dominant worldview on our planet from one of competition and dominance to one of cooperation and co-creation and synergy. So our website is fmbr.org. You can find all of our past talks on our YouTube channel, which is, if you just search FMBR TV, you'll find us. So we are honored to have Jan Jorgensen with us this afternoon. Jan is a singer, a certified music practitioner, public health nurse, minister, priestess, a sound specialist, a multifaceted leader in the expanding field of vibration and quantum energy transformation. As a messenger of these principles, her gift is to make the esoteric simple and fun and empower community leaders to employ these tools in powerful circles for change. Jan's an author, recording artist, and a recognized visionary who's focused on one thing: supporting the transformation of the earth and her people to a higher path. So you're among like-minded individuals here, Jan. And I want to let everyone know that in less than 2 weeks, Jan is receiving her doctorate. And she's was finishing up her dissertation on and the topic was, can voice release remove fear from the spiritually awakening women's voices so that they can speak up and lead, which is just awesome. So Jan, thank you. Welcome, and thank you for being here this afternoon.
Well, it's an honor to be here. And likewise, we're kindred spirits. We're all in this together. I'm feeling the energy of the people here in this space with us. And when you said the goals of your organization, you truly are performing a great service as a bridge, of course, from the traditional that needs readjusting into the new paradigm, cooperative, benevolent systems.
Exactly.
We're the same wavelength.
Absolutely right. And everyone who's listening, I think, is as well. And I think, just having that vision of an awakened humanity is what keeps us moving forward. Because you talk in your work, you talk about what you said something, I'm gonna let you present, but you said something about this sense of kind of exhaustion and that you hear in people's voices, especially those who consider themselves, light workers or here to effect change on the planet. And I would love to hear about that.
Well, I'm on these tours now. I've done the vibrational work I taught. It was Sound of Consciousness Institute years ago, and I've developed private practices, and I've led tours to different sacred sites. But much of my work is on Zoom, and with the people that I know, that they already know what I'm working with. I work with a lot of women who have great skills in recreating reality with vibrational principles. And so I had this very interesting thing happen in Pacific Northwest, and I just wasn't feeling well. And I finally realized it must be the moisture. It must be the greenery. And so my partner said one day, well, maybe you should live somewhere else for a little while and see. And at first I'm like, what? And the next day, the Queen's Caravan Spiritual Walkabout Tour was born. And something in me opened up because I go out. I finished my third tour. The last one was 5 weeks or getting longer. But I went across the entire United States, and I'm feeling the pulse of the general every woman. And she's feeling what I'm writing in the dissertation. She's not part of the party of receiving what she feels deserves. She feels that she deserves, and women are traditionally underpaid, and they're in service to the support and happiness of other people. So this sense of disempowerment is something, and it's almost a despair after COVID with the different changes, financial, the children, and men don't know what to do anymore. They're being shaken up with their provider protect roles. So I'm hearing in their voices that if this is how the future looks, I'm not even sure if I have what it takes to continue. So that's where I come in, because we know, those of us that work with intentional consciousness, that can meditate and connect with spirit, can hear and see different options and different choices, which often don't fit in with the low vibrational life that she's living. So I come in, and rather than, paint a picture of what's wrong, I find what's right. Her inclusivity with inviting family, creating community, or that one thing she does, standing and claiming her mastery in that community. And so that's what I mean by I'm feeling a sense of hopelessness and sameness, and that this could get worse. So I'm bringing in an activating vibration of taking them into a deep meditation and seeing possible different outcomes. And then, of course, we do a sound bath or voice release, which I'll talk about, which changes the trajectory profoundly.
That's wonderful. Do tell us about the voice release and how you came to it.
Okay. Well, would this be a good time for me to do the PowerPoint?
Sure.
Okay, because it's pretty well laid out here. So I've got it all set up here. So far, so good, right? Okay. So I'm not sure how this needs to go over here. So look at this, June 20th, me, Foundation for Mind being research. And I love that because that's where it is. The more research and forward moving we are to bring the facts, and we can stand as creational beings more powerfully. Okay. So I want to go to the next slide. There we go. We have more raw power through our voices than we can understand, that we can even fathom. I have focused on the voice because it is our way of communicating our truth, asking for what we need, and also saying, this doesn't work for me, and this does not feel like the truth. So I started working with the voice, and the main reason I began with the voice is that I had mild to severe speaking and singing anxiety. And of course, the spirit would have it I was in front of a mirror at age 12 wanting to be Judy Garland singing Over the Rainbow. And I took voice lessons and I did everything. But then I would have a surprise, incapacitating anxiety. So over the years in my study about the voice, I have learned your voice is your calling card to the world. And I will explain that in scientific terms and pictures in a few moments. We attract people based on our voice. We repeat the same patterns and relationships. When we are in our mother's womb, I assume this group knows what the word entrainment is. We entrain with our entire nervous system the same amount of tension in our mother's tongue, pharynx, speaking modality, and we mirror it even in the womb. So what I found is, and I'll explain it to you, over 10 years of studying the voice and then settling on helping women who are spiritually awakening speak the new potentialities, change the frequency profile of your voice. You'll attract in not the narcissist anymore, not the pushy boss, not someone that reminds you of your mother that you have to dodge all the time. You will change your life. So I came today to present to you this scientific and yet spiritually guided voice release. Our voice broadcasts fear, and it begets fear or attracts fear or trustworthy energy. So that's kind of the base of it. So we want to bring ourselves into alignment in our own power so that we're not stepping outside our own power, our sense of power to please others or to be demure or marginalized any longer. So as I was dealing with my anxiety and I came out of a long-term marriage, the Voice Bio was one of the first things that came across. And I can't see the chat, but maybe you know what the Voice Bio is. And as a registered nurse, I was amazed to see there are 26 basic vocal patterns that correlate to disease states. Not only disease states that are actually present, but ones that are etherically coming in. We now know that disease begins in the etheric, the energetic, the thought creational realm, and then it becomes physicalized in your body. So for years, I would take this to fairs and booths and have private appointments, and I would look and say, oh, this person, they have digestive issues, the G note. You can see the bottom, those are musical notes. Your voice has a musicality. If it has a note that's too high, it means something is pushing that note. And until you change that behavior or thought pattern, it will stay the same. This person has, let's see, D sharp, adrenals are a little low. The white line in the middle shows me the entire energy available to that person. So I look at this and I kind of know their emotional field, their physiological field, and then we go from there and have conversations on how to shift. The amazing thing is, if the C note is very, very low, we can tone it. So for a while, I would give people a tuning fork and a prescription. It's a tritone relationship. Think of the meridians in your body, the acupuncture. Energy gets inflamed, too much energy in one of the fields, the meridian. So the C note is low. That's the thyroid, the basic of your immune system. They would go home and tone the C note, and that would lower their F sharp. F sharp is significant because it's very high in people who are anxious and have a lot of fear in their body. So this was a miracle to me that I thought maybe I could figure out my anxiety patterns, and boy, did I go for it. I would do a voice bio after dancing, after sex, after doing a big meditation. And I'll tell you this, it doesn't significantly change unless there is a prolonged significant change in your patterns and habits or a shock to your system. After surgery, mine completely turned upside down until I had gotten into the restorative. So facing all of these things that are operating in your voice unconsciously, if you don't value yourself and you show up as a businesswoman, entrepreneur, people are going to say, well, she doesn't value herself. Your voice is the unconscious broadcast of all of your thoughts. So on this mask here, all these things you don't want people to see, that when you speak, they are actually reading all of this. They're seeing all parts of you, but they're usually seeing at a feeling level. So if you have a feeling, men betray me, because your mom thought men betrayed, or you had an early experience, that somatic experience would be broadcast out, and you will go into a room where there's 100 potential partners, and you will choose the one that will betray you because that matches your beliefs and your system. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We had somebody ask if you could make the images full screen.
Now, what would I press for that?
Across the top, there's a thing that says slideshow.
Okay, let me move this.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th one on the red bar.
On top?
Yeah. Do you see we're in the red? There's on the right it says recording, then view.
Stop share, screen sharing, pause share, and
no, in the red bar here.
This one?
Yeah.
This red bar?
Do you see there's something that says slideshow?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. So I need to press what to make that big? Use timings, record slideshow. I don't see.
Do presenter view.
Present. Okay.
To the left.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the third one. Try that.
Oh. That's not better, but
that's not bad.
Uh-oh. Now I could totally have screwed it up. Let me see what else could work. Now.
Okay, I don't want to. We may just have to.
Yeah, I'm just. Let's see. I wonder if this would be next. Let's preview by title and show. I'm so sorry. I don't have that capacity to figure out.
Yeah, that's okay.
And usually they do fill the whole thing. So
yeah,
this is a new computer for me. But can you see this? Okay. So now do I need to come out of this mode? This is as big as the other one, right?
Yeah, it didn't get any bigger.
Just do that.
Who says try pressing escape to get out of that mode?
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so we're back.
I'm wondering.
I apologize.
Oh no, that's okay. I'm wondering if sometimes down here on the right, we could try that. No.
Oh, you know what? There's a slideshow option in the blue bar as well.
That's a little bigger. How about that?
That'll do.
All right. Perfect. Good. Okay.
Yes, thanks, Sue. I'm sorry to.
Oh no.
There. So you were talking about attracting people into your life.
Yes.
Who will mirror for you or will model for you that belief that you hold.
Exactly.
And that it comes out in your voice. Your
voice is your calling card. And say, for instance, after my divorce, I was anxious. I didn't know who I was, what I would do. My F sharp was very, very high. So I attracted a man in who had no F sharp in his voice. And being in my presence, he could absorb it and get more neurological energy. And my excessive neurological energy was drained off. So we were a match for a while until I got more confident and balanced. And then I felt repulsed. So all of our relationships are based on this. And little couples, aged couples, they often, when one dies, the other one will die within 6 months. It's because their biofields were holding a higher note than was natural for them to bolster their partner's health. Interesting. So this is actually voice print. You're probably familiar with this. Eric Larson, a good friend of mine, developed the cymatics machine for John Reed in the United Kingdom. This is my voice profile. And then I had an idea. I said, wait a minute. When I speak, something is actually forming out into the world that can be photographed. So the propulsion of the movement of the breath coming out moves. It's like, it's somatic, sounds Jenny, where it shows the energy of my voice print. And because I studied opera and anthroposophical pure tone singing, my voice has a lot of air in it. This is my friend who's a shamanic healer and talks like this. And her energy is more of a tree trunk, and look at that. So I said, we each have a bio identity voice print. So I started getting a picture that the voice, this profile, could we change it and get the fear out? Then the big thing happened. I met Don Estes. If you've never interviewed him, he's just the most intelligent, brainiac, very researched person down in Santa Monica, runs Inner Sense. And he introduced me to the Portacle. This is my voice print captured as I was speaking. Every color is a different harmonic of my voice. So I signed up, and for 6 months, a woman and I did Portacle, actually healing treatments on people, because he took it from simply diagnostic. And as you look at this, the diagnostic aspect of this, he will even say we can capture and see a person's consciousness through their voice. See the cursor over here? Mental, physical, and emotional percentages are assigned to exactly how much that person believes and is embodying the words they are saying. Also, we can discern if a person is in their dominant frequency and holding their field, or if they're pulling back. So this was a true game changer. We could watch in real time. Now, he's the brainiac, but Lauren came in. What was her name? I think Lauren Walsh gave him $500,000 and said, well, wait a minute. If we can see the voice and it's not matching up, can we bring in frequency fields and pulsing in a binaural headphone system? And can we mitigate and increase those numbers for more alignment so a woman can speak? I say women because I work with the women leaders, so that she is in her 100% dominant frequency, and she emotionally and physically and mentally is fully aligned. And when she does that, this opens up, and right in the middle is a big, beautiful white hole, because she has reached her wholeness. She doesn't have attachments. Her voice becomes a bell of grounding truth and trustworthiness. So this program, it did take women a lot of effort and expense to go through, come back for weeks. But it gave me more information that we can perhaps diagnose people through vocal patterns, but can we change people through their voice? And then I see things like this. This is sound made visible. With all of the high resolution, very quick ways digital, we can see sound now. And of course, I'm talking to the choir here, but I put in our human body can be diagnosed as sound and healed by sound. My first real work in this field was doing music at the bedside of dying patients for 6 years. And I phenomenally went into a state of complete grace. I now know it was the first time in my life I had ever been in a non-fear state. And I said, I don't know what this feeling is, but I am going to investigate it, label it, and find it, and allow for other people who have suffered for anxiety to be in this state. So I began studying sound. I left my marriage at 23 years. I had everything. I was married to an orthodontist, Ferrari villa, everything. And I said, this needs my full focus. And I began studying sound, tones, and I learned, if you're listening to this, there's a good chance that you have pretty good intuition. I would hear and intuit the tones that a human body would need, and I would sing it. And when I was in service and listening, guess what? I forgot to be nervous. I wasn't performing. That's how I entered the state of grace with my voice and sounding. I found that the improvisational were most appropriate in the moment, sound application for what that body was asking for in that moment. Fear of dying, IBS, something to go in, release, and repattern the stress and tension in that body. And I practice on everybody all the time. But I began to say, that's me practicing at a big event. I'd be singing people's spines and around them and get testimonials. And I really made a whole business out of it. But I said, how about this? If I figured out a way by matching tones with that body needs, and I know working 6 years in hospice that I can create a state where that person releases fear of dying, would it be possible for me to learn to create a state where people would lose their fear of living, that women would lose their fear of speaking their truth, even in a world that wasn't ready to hear it? So this shows, this is an old one I did, of tones in color in real time. So when I was at the bedside, I realized I was bathing people. I would go into a meditative state, attain a field of over 732 hertz, and gold would come out of my mouth. High-speed auric photography. The other colors are the tones of the lyre. By making the intention to bring forth sounds that could heal alive. And now watch this. Watch the hand, the voice. And now watch the gong notes. They're so beautiful. So I learned and now know let the music heal us. That if I went into a higher, it's not moving, a higher vibrational state. Seems to be stuck on this slide. Come on.
Sue says, click the play button.
Oh, well, but we're going to hear that over.
You hear that again, yeah.
Yeah, shoot. I've never had that. What a day. I've never had this problem. Let me do this and go to the next slide. Probably be the smart thing. Okay, there. Okay, so then as part of my investigations, I would be in different emotional states and I would get auric images. Here, I was feeling kind of crummy, but I was imagining divine light coming in, but my emotions were too thick. So I couldn't go to the 732 hertz stage where I absolutely went to the state of grace, which was right here. So this is over 732 hertz at the beginning stages of what you call Christic consciousness, where your head can pop through this reality and be in service with no fear, where I didn't have to think of what I was going to say because the words came through me like angelic ping pong balls, finding their little place in my voice. And angel speed is much faster than human speed. So I actually could even fall asleep. 2 times I fell asleep giving classes and I woke up and looked around. They said, Jan, you didn't miss a word. So that's one way to get over having fear, is to go into a higher vibrational state and let go. So all of this was forming the background for the voice release. I learned that the spine holds different frequencies, and that helped me see also that by singing certain frequencies that you could heal. And here again, sound made visible. I know that most humans have a deep, wistful, nostalgic sense of longing for home. It is a home that no longer, perhaps never was. A yearning and wistful grief for people and things long gone. And I know that that is the fearless state. So think about the times when you're feeling absolutely free. Most likely it was with a group of trustworthy friends, no fear. Or you'd been in long meditation or beautiful music, no fear. So our body sounds the cosmos. So if you're thinking fear, and you will get fearful reactions and people won't trust you, and vice versa. If I went into 732 hertz, people would fall like into this beautiful state and stop moving and go to stillness. And then these little miracles of healing, people would say, my IBS went away that night and never came back. The pain in my neck went away and never came back. So I said, oh, this is too good for me to not to keep to myself. So I started thinking, how can we heal with the voice? Again, it's this healing moment, is a suspension of normal consciousness. So before I take people into a voice release session, I take them through a very simple meditation process just to kind of get them what? Stop thinking, turn off the mental. It is not a mental, it is not a linear intellectual process. Anybody who tells you this healing fork will heal this on everybody, no, that's a money-making program. True healing is intuitive and merging and feeling into what is needed, and then having a nice toolkit of trainings and things, certifications, so that you can pull out by having some research in science and quantum field energy philosophy behind it. So when I do these things, just like when I was teaching and I fell asleep, I ask for assistance. I ask to open up. And when I'm open, I ask for protection, because we're open to new dimensions. So, oh, can you believe it? Pretend that was empty there. Okay, voice release. It took me 10 years to design it, and I've probably been doing it 10 years now. Okay, now that took me out of that. Come on. I do know that this works. Okay. Here. Okay. So you probably know by now it's the energy behind the words, it's the thoughts. Even more, it's the intention. The intention. The words do not create reality. The energy does. See how my voice slowed down and I really moved into that? The voice has moved people's hearts, actions, and votes for thousands of years, alliances. The voice is so hypnotic, but it's the energy behind it. So people do feel the fear when women have when speaking up. What if women had no fear, could not be heard, and I'm not going to correct that now because I'm going to get out of it, but you know I'm working on my dissertation. My eyes are ready to fall out of my head with all the writing. But my feeling was the inner circle of women I work with, it's like they're afraid to share their deeper knowings and findings. These women are communing with spirit through their intention. And it is time for them to share these teachings, got excited there, visions and more, so we can lift the planet through the new truth, okay? So, as I said, we did vocal analysis, track the biofield, track fear, adrenal fatigue, track the consciousness. We can see the person through their voice. And now voice release, we can change the person through their voice. So you're going to ask me now, okay, so I could see what was going on with the body, but how did I know how the process was? Well, I would just go into a stillness and I'd say, well, it's got to be living in their body, the trigger, the memory of it, the first time their dad shamed them, the first time the grandma put soap on the tongue when she spoke up, or the body stiffened when you said you needed something and you weren't allowed to have needs. So with voice release, this is the spiritual part. I prayed, or I asked and intend. That's my word for prayer. It's kind of more quantum field. I ask and intend to be shown how to unvibrate the initial trauma, soma pattern within this woman's body. Take a deep breath. And it was an archangel that said, Jan, you're going to sit right across from him. You're going to both take a deep breath. You're going to put them in a light trance. I call it the light trance, so they stop thinking. And you are going to awaken the trauma memory in that body. You're going to talk about the memories. Guess what? Even it was just last week that you felt a misogynist kind of marginalizing, diminishing comment from someone. That is just the top rubber band on a whole ball living in your body. And there is a core to that rubber band ball. So by talking about it, it starts vibrating. So Spirit said that you will actually face that person across in a chair, and they can have their eyes shut or open, and you'll take a deep breath, and they will start to tone it. And believe me, they will know that tone because they will feel it, and they start toning it. So then I match that tone. So imagine the tone is 5 fingers up, wiggling, coming towards me, and I notice 2 of them are crunched over. And that is the wounding. So that's a visual picture that they're toning. And I ask and intend that my voice doesn't put a beautiful picture of their perfected alignment, but I actually frequency match and melt into their wounding. The minute I do it, I feel that 3 or 4-year-old or 5-year-old who has held that as an avoidance pattern, a painful anguish. Their entire life is met in love. And I do a phase shifting with my voice on various consonants and tones, and it becomes a rope that falls apart. It does not have the integrity, vibrational patterning integrity. And in that moment, everyone in the room that has that same issue feels a huge relief and shift. And I said, this stuff is just unbelievable. I mean, it's the testimonials, the experiences I've had with one woman, a group of 10, or 300 women in a room, it's always the same. So release of the trauma trigger. Then we use words. I ask and intend to release the anguish I felt when my father shamed me for whatever. And we say it, and I listen, this intuitive part, for the exact words to help it release. Words have vibrational signatures. And again, I just keep going in like a corkscrew to get to the bottom of it. And then at a certain point, the person is fatigued, and that's enough, or sometimes the whole thing comes out. So then the repatterning vibrational phase is somewhat different. We've emptied out. We tone new frequencies, the new feeling. What do we want to feel? And what is the name of that vibration? And that would be something like this. I ask and intend, the person would repeat after me, I ask and intend to replace the old vibration. We don't even name it, not giving it energy, it's gone. The old vibration with profound trust, in myself, that I do say the right thing at the right time. And everything settles down, and we make an anchoring sound that allows that new pattern to be instilled into that woman's frequency field. And her voice is a megaphone of everything that's going on with her history, her present, her expectations for the future. So we cleared something from the past so she could go into that room if she's looking for a partner of 100 men, and she wouldn't resonate with the one who matched the trauma pattern. She would pick a nice newer person. So they've done a lot of research. You probably heard about it. Russian DNA experiment shows how our vocal processes, ask and intend, can change how our DNA even regrows tissue. So the women I work with, we change things. We decide what we want to change. Benevolent changes, harm to none, good for all. And we're really in our alchemy priestess mode when we do that. But really, we don't even need those words. It's physics. It's all vibration. So this is this simple little process that I use. And believe me, all good spiritual prompts begin with something like this. And Caroline Corey was a major teacher. I worked with her for 15 years. And we say this: I ask and intend to set a sacred space. In other words, I separate my energy field from everyone else's. We put ourselves into a beautiful geometric structure. Why geometric? Because the infrastructure, the infinite grid, is geometric. So we feel safe and separated, and we actually can release everybody else's energy from our field. Even that feels fabulous. Second, because they're very high vibration, your interdimensional spirit family, whoever you want, Buddha, Jesus, Mary, they all carry very high vibrations and wish for your best. So their presence is already moving things into higher vibrations. The next step is we make an intention. We open our crown chakra and we ask for the frequencies of source. You use your word there. God got us, all that is. We ask that the energy of source bathe our body, okay? So now you are in, over 732 hertz, fearless state, and you can go in and feel and mark like a target, a dartboard, the things that you want to get out of your body. So the voice release project with Gateway is, can we remove fear from the voice of awakening women? 6 women, and I chose creatives, spiritually oriented women. And the saddest thing is, I looked at how many years, 150 years, been afraid to use her voice since her dad said, if you tell people I'm sexually abusing you, you will lose everything. One, it was 2 years talking to her family, so it was like over hundreds of years. These 6 women had held back what they wanted to say. And when I asked them what did they think would be the outcome if they could speak what they wanted, they'd say, I'd do more art, I'd speak. 100 years of lost artwork, leadership, community presence, being in diminished relationships. I mean, that part almost made me want to cry. But the results were good. I did a pre and a post survey. And here it is. I had this wonderful person. If you ever want a good statistical person, I found a great person on Upwork, PhD in statistic crunching. And here it is, statistical analysis. Significant difference, more confident in speaking their truth in general contexts after this session. Okay? And of course, you have to look at placebo effect, and a lot of them knew me. I mean, there's a lot of biases and different things in there. But look at what these women had experienced. And you'll probably see yourself in there. Fear of what others think. If you're thinking that or hurting others' feelings, you're holding back truth. Feeling as if something has to be said in a certain way to be safe. I've been very guilty of that, especially with my partners. I speak my mind, but then I wonder if I resonate with others. One of the women was very outspoken. I worry they will not agree with what I say. Well, there's a new saying for the awakening woman. It's not my business what you think of me or what I say. That kind of frees you up. Now, some of these historical things, children are to be seen and not heard. That was my father. Now, this was the worst. Parents have the right to kill their children if they misbehave. 2 of the neighborhood children were killed by the parents. And that's what they told the woman in my story. So she felt if she didn't behave, she could also be killed. So let's not focus too much on this, but ta-da. So this is a descriptive analysis, and I'm just showing it because it's all fresh. 83.3 were sometimes affected by distress, but after the session, half of them were hardly ever affected. The general context of speaking the truth, there was a considerable increase in number of individuals who considered it easy to speak in front of audience, speak when someone disrespects them. So this is not just public speaking. Stay focused and calm while sharing their truth, standing up for themselves when someone is out of line, and set boundaries. So I did a qualitative and quantitative. And so on many of the quantitative ones, we were able to look and, give the charts and things. This was a reduction, ignore that, okay. Reduction in distress when speaking up. Oops. And okay, I thought maybe they want to see what voice release looks like. So these people were all put into the Be the Light trance, and I am sensing and feeling and merging with this woman. She's just talked about her childhood trauma. She's bringing up a note, and I'm matching it. Okay, now I know we're going to need to go to this because I'm a quick learner. So voice release allows you to stick your head out of the consensus reality and experience yourself with a little fresh air and a higher platform, and to really see your old patterns. So where we're going as a species. There's a divine plan unfolding on Earth, and my sense is if we don't have the good sense and sanity of the spiritually awakening feminine, and this could be men too, the feminine, I'm talking about inclusivity, collaboration, co-creation, all the familial type things rather than top-down patriarchy, toxic masculine. In the future, in the divine plan, anything less than truth would be unfathomable. So we are in a bridge now. We are shifting the tides. And now more and more people awakening can feel the truth and they can feel the lies. So I believe that voice release is a way for more voices of truth to be creating more harmonic music and assisting the earth to shift into a more benevolent profile. So over the years, I've worked with, Global Healing Forum, Santon de la Vie, and we came up with this, the builders of the new paradigm in a feminine way, bridge builders, many roles in teams, but we can't do it unless we're in our authenticity and we're in the empowerment of speaking our truth to bring the divine plan to earth. Anyway, I could give a whole talk. Now, sometimes women think, oh my God, worry about the males. Well, I wrote a book about that. It's called The Guy's Guide to the Divine Feminine, because men, once they learn that empowered women speaking the truth is really a godsend, and they get it, they won't say this, I think you're just a bit much. Jesus, go find less. No, that's a joke. Buy your guide, the book. Why is the voice important? This woman was in the study. She's a sound healer singer.
Hi, I'm Johnny Proby, the classical voice healer. Today, I would like to share with you the first time I realized that I was not safe to speak my truth. I was a child, I would say 10 years old, and I realized that I was not allowed to express my feelings or emotions. And during this time, I experienced deep sadness, emotional pain, and trauma, which caused me to create a wall around my heart to block the pain. It was tough. Suffering mental, physical, emotional, and even verbal abuse suppressed my voice. Even though I had siblings around me, actually 8 girls and 4 boys, so we were a large household, it was still hard. But what I did find was listening to music and singing songs really became my escape, my refuge, which brought healing and awakened the voice of my soul through those difficult times. What I realized too is that emotional walls of grief and trauma can abuse create a numbness that you will experience, not joy and happiness. So knocking down those walls, overcoming emotional blocks and challenges freed my voice. And this is why I'm really grateful for the work that Jan is doing around voice release, because it's truly been helpful for me. Music, sound energy was instrumental in my healing. And now this is why I am passionate about helping others overcome their own emotional challenges so that they can live a life of optimal health and wellness. It's possible for each and every one of us, and I'm so grateful. I hope this is helpful. Namaste.
So we're just about finished here. As part of this looking into women's voices, I said, well, there has to be a form. So the form, Sounding Our Authentic Resonance, Women's Leadership, and it's been a template that I see many other women on the planet are getting this memo that if we circle up in circles, traditionally in matriarchal societies, it was a table. It was not an altar up in front with spectators, but it was a table, a participatory table. So the idea is each woman claims her mastery and teaches women in her circle. And then she goes and visits another community and shares her mastery, and someone comes into her circle, her community. And this is how we create a new, powerful, potentized, almost off the grid, even economic grid, places to stay and artistic exchanges. All of this can go a long ways to be creating a new feminine-oriented social system. So I have many YouTubes on that. So as a result, move over here. On the Queen's Caravan Spiritual Walkabout Tour, I drove cross country and did events and met with people, and that's where I met people. Oklahoma, I did a group in Richmond, Virginia, Durango, Colorado, and I got to sit with them and talk about what's important, what's bothering you, and give them the simple vibrational tools and skills based on what they would rather experience, how to be creational beings in their community. And I didn't have to use New Age words or anything. In fact, this little red wagon attracts all women, all people. And I have to tell you, I ended up in a lot of really interesting situations with a lot of wonderful conversations with people across the United States. And so this is my last thing right here. Oh, it's not supposed to say PhD till July 1st. Pretend you're not seeing that. I'm probably breaking a law. Voice release significantly reduces the fear of speaking up. And I do go out to different communities. And this little red van, I just drove it back from Maine, had 2 lobster rolls. It was fabulous. Drove it all across the country. This is Durango. Let's see, this is a group of Mormon women in Pleasant Valley. This is me in my little van again. And this is, that's in Richmond, Virginia. So as a follow-up to this, different people say, Jan, we want to learn what you do. So I do offer, I have a program coming up of 3 sessions, hour and a half each. It's like a little 3 thing I call Divine Time that people can come to, and I will teach them what I do. When I go out on the tours, I offer a buffet because every community is different. If they're pretty advanced, we'll do voice release. Energy and sound healing sessions. This is when I visit in person in the van. Mount Shasta, really tuned in people, voice release. Or if this is all new to women, but they want to at least feel the core of their feeling world and their angst and breakthrough, I'm a certified intentional creativity painting teacher. Find your inner voice and creativity. So that's what I'm up to. And I would really love to take questions.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much. Just one question right off the bat from one of our men is, do you work with men ever?
Oh, absolutely. When I say feminine, I was assigned because the masculine voice is very big on this planet right now, right? But now the scales are really moving. But I find that the kindest, smartest women, they don't feel like it's safe to stand up and say their truth. So those are the women that I feel that what they're hearing and working with spirit is guiding us to the new paradigm, especially projectors, human design system. I really love working with projectors, helping them be that visionary that they were born to be.
That's wonderful. And I love that you note that, the pendulum is shifting. We're helping to shift it, right? Because the toxic masculinity has taken us about as far as we can go and has become untenable, I think.
I got to tell you, my daughter's here. There's my email in there if anybody wants to contact me. Plus, I think it'll be on what you, tape and prepare. But my daughter, she's a mini me, but on steroids. And 24/7, she's visiting me. I was just in New York with her. And actually, we did a performance piece together on top of a Manhattan thing. And what a trip that was. I mean, we blew the minds of these young men putting on this Earth Day thing, but they loved it. We did sound, we did our voices. But 24/7, she mirrors to me the painful archetypes of the masculine, the landlord, the this, the control, the this and this and this. So it's very fresh, the pain that we're all going through because she's visiting me here now. And so I know all these women on the side are hearing what I'm saying. The chat.
So Daryl, present company accepted. Of course, for all the men who are listening.
Oh, yes, yeah, keep saying, okay, any man whose heart directed is in his feminine. We need the men too. We need masculine is mind, and we have a lot of mind right now. So, I love men, and I love the divine masculine,
especially the men who are drawn to this, right?
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Here's the big hug. I just love that. I'm not toxic.
Sue wants to know, is the voice bio some form of the Fourier transform?
Now that I'm not familiar with. Voice Bio is by Kay Thompson. She was a police officer and kept seeing the injustices of babies, taking babies from home, crackheads. And she said, I need to heal the paradigm. She meditated, went still, and they said, you're to be a naturopath. And then she meditated, and they said, you're going to create a voice analysis system that shows the pattern of women have when they are abused. And you're going to figure out, with Spirit's help, how they get out of that phase and don't attract abusers anymore.
That's amazing. So it sounds to me like you're channeling a lot, or when people align like this, are they more open to receiving information and guidance and inspiration?
I know. If you want to go to the new paradigm, you got to do a little work, and it's this simple. You just stop thinking, put yourself into this wonderful little thing. It's my Be the Light meditation. And if you send me your email, I put my email, send me your email and I'll send it to you. You can practice it. And I already talked about it. Take a deep breath through the nose and out through the mouth. You get better every day. It's like a memory muscle. I ask and intend to set a sacred space. I stop thinking. And suddenly, the mind, the masculine and the feminine, open up in the middle, just like in the portacle. I feel my heart go to the 0 point, where Jan's not in charge anymore. Jan's not in charge. In fact, I've learned to connect with my higher consciousness, and I'm going to tell you a really quick story because it's pretty amazing. We have time. So sometimes, like everybody, is this new age stuff crazy? I'm giving another talk up in Shasta. It's hot. I hate the heat. I was divorced. I was dating this guy who broke up with me. I go, I can't do this. I can't do it. Am I done? Take me home. I kept saying, am I done? And all of a sudden, and I had never had this. It wasn't out of body because I was in my body, but my consciousness itself, I said, take me home. I went home. I am surrounded. If you doubt heaven, this was a near-death experience, I guess, because I was surrounded by these beings who knew me and said, Jan, you are home. We know you are exhausted. And just like in The Wizard of Oz, they started going, da, 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 making my vibration. They said, let's do a little restoration. They said, your major work hasn't even begun. I go, what? They said, now go back down in the tent. I said, I don't want to. You can't, when spirit tells you to do something. I said, okay. They said, now squeeze your legs. I said, okay. They said, now you're squeezing your legs, but you can still hear us. I said, yeah. They said, it's like you're still with us. I said, yes. They said, now open your eyes. And I looked, there's the tent, but I'm still with them. I said, wait a minute. You mean I'm in both places at once? They said, only in your limited perception were you ever separate from your higher conscious self. So when I work with people, people have like this thing here. It's a big hourglass, right? And this is reality. This is how I live. And bit by bit, I make them more comfortable so they can open this up and see the bigger picture. And it's a GPS system through 0 points. So now I go home and I said, well, how am I going to know to get home? And they go, well, you're going to need a visual prompt. How about a little green scooter? So anyway, that's the fun part, but we're learning. We're not alone here. And the divine plan, Jan can fall asleep, but the person who promised, the consciousness that promised to come here and change and open people's hearts to the absolute truth will come through if I have no fear and let it. So that's why the Be the Light process allows me to go in that space and still feel safe not thinking. The ego doesn't like us not to think. But I've learned to master that and teach it. Now, I'm not saying I walk through life unafraid. I'm on my path too, right with everybody. Okay.
I love that. And one of my core beliefs is and people who know me have heard me say this many times. One of my favorite quotes is from Einstein that said, you can't solve a problem at the level of thinking that created the problem. And that as we do this kind of work, as we raise our vibration, as we spend more time in that 732 hertz or, in that high vibration, I think solutions will appear that hadn't been available. That's why I'm hopeful for the future. All evidence to the contrary.
All we have to do is ask. Remember that movie with Meg Ryan and Nicolas Cage? All those angels were sitting on the LA freeway overpass saying, why don't they ask? We're here. So this is the other thing. Humans, to be born on earth, when they come in, we take the pill of forgetting. So it takes us a long time to wake up the truth and who we really are. But we cannot, no disembodied interdimensional being can do anything on earth without our permissions. We are the conduits and intermediaries. So this is very powerful information. So sometimes in meditations, like a balloon drop, I'll say, I ask and intend that the next level of angelic realm beings, I allow you and invite you and pull open the balloon net and come on down, and I will be your sponsor to do good on earth. So I do that, and it's real. I mean, I know this stuff is real. I feel it and see it.
I love that sense of partnership, right? And it's not that you're in real partnership there. You have agency still, right? You're not just I don't want to say like a spiritual doormat, but you are in equal partnership, and I love that.
We have the power to use our will to be conduits for amazing, not just vibrational electromagnetic change, because we're going through that, but if you're in a very high vibrational state, you can change matter. Now that's what gurus used to do, right? Let's say a rose. When you're in a high vibrational state, remember that picture? I popped through this consensus reality. This becomes my dominion. Not that I'm going to dominate. In fact, you can't use your recreation skills if it's for ego or showing off. I teach other people to do it. That's why it's not all about me. They're just learning skills to do it. We do it together. And that's why I particularly like working with very skilled inner circle. And one of my best helpers is this guy, David Merlin. He's a Merlin. Yeah, he brings a whole different flavor to the healing circles and things he can see and do. So yeah, I don't work exclusively with women.
But just for the people who are listening and aren't watching the chats, the people on YouTube, someone asked if Jan does sessions over Zoom. And yes, she does. How does that work?
Well,
same way as
I'll tell you, because the quantum field, I would say it's a little bit, that's my website right there, but put the HTTP, Sound and Light Healing Arts. Everything is on there. My email is up here in the middle somewhere also. So I have special equipment that I can put microphones and everything, but essentially I'm energetically present with the person. And when I need to, I'll merge with them. Now, I'm not saying that's a skill everybody has, but they could. When I was little, this was the funny part. I was about 4, and my dad saying something, and I didn't realize at the time. I merged with him, and I thought, he's thinking something, and he's saying the exact opposite. So that has served me in the work that I do. I merge with people with permission. There's always a contract, and I can almost feel it and see it moving. I can almost see the broken jungle gym geometrical thing of the trauma. And the minute it gets repaired, expansion. And it's a time clock. Don't beat yourself up that you haven't had that, exquisite little healing wholeness. Every conscious being and the divine plan will come online at the right time for themselves. There's no shame. There's no perfect, whatever. Now, people are asking me for the website. So should I go ahead and take a second and get that, or will you put that in the?
Do you want to go back to that slide that had your information? Or
yeah, we could do that. All right, that's a good idea. Screen share. Here it is. Here it is. That's it. You could call me. You could text me.
That's the website. That's the email address, phone number.
That is my website, but you have to do the HTTP. Now you have to write this out. Sound and lighthealingarts.com, just as it is written. Yeah. Or I put my other email too. I'll answer to anything.
And just before we conclude, can you tell me again the name of that book you wrote, The Guy's Guide to the?
Yeah. Now I have to tell you, it's for the guy.
Yeah.
And it's short and big print, gets to the point. Your wife or your partner's waking up. They seem like an alien, but you must allow this movement. Well, you'll lose her. Allow it, breathe into it, because she's going to take you into this beautiful new territory eventually too. It's called Guy's Guide. I'll type it out. Guy's Guide. For anyone. I describe what's a priestess, what's the goddess, why is she so sensitive, why can't she be around certain smells? Well, spiritual awakening, your whole system is just being rewired. And the feminine, not men or women, the feminine is leading this, the heart-centered being, feminine, with her intuition, her heart open. I also do groups in Port Townsend, women's groups. I have an office there across the water. And this workshop is 3 sessions, is called Divine Time. And if you go to my website, it lists stuff. It's Divine Time that starts, I think, July 15th. Yeah, July 15th. It's just 3 sessions. So these are very simple tools I use. You can see but you use them like you mean it, and you use them consistently. And I do a free meditation, free, every Wednesday. I call it Be the Light Meditation. And you can find that at my website Free Wednesday Be the Light meditation, 9 a.m. Sometimes just me, sometimes it's 10 people from all around the world. And I take you through the meditation. And we pick a topic du jour, like today we want to embody more peace, more truth, more whatever. And so we go through the process. So it's, again, building that muscle.
That is wonderful. Well, it sounds like a lot of people want to contact you.
I look forward to it. I am a little busy till July 2nd. That's graduation.
Just know the PhD thesis in dissertation and process is ongoing for the next couple of weeks. Can't see the title of your book, Guy's Guide to the Divine Feminine.
It didn't go to everyone. It just went to the hosts and panelists.
Oh, I see.
Guide. Now, if you are a woman and you are just on your spiritual path, I wrote a book called Passion Healed Me, and it's hilarious because I didn't know which end was up. At first, I believed every New Age teacher spent a lot of money. So you'll see yourself in there, but by the end, I was a little more sober. And I'm a good person to bounce ideas off, because there's a lot of false prophets out there in the sound healing energy field, and really it's all profit oriented.
Yeah. Well, I read a blog that you did about being a lighthouse, moving from like being a rescue boat to being a lighthouse in these times. And really that's where we want to stand, in that grounded, radiating space. And I really am just so grateful to you for the work that you're doing and for sharing it with us in a way that's so approachable and honestly exciting. I love the work you're doing, and I can't wait to hear more about it.
Well, we'll stay in touch. And listen, I didn't mean to say don't call me. Send me an email and I'll put it in a folder, and I'll check in with you after the 2nd, okay? Because while the iron is out, while you're excited, of course, and if you do want to learn about the divine time, of course, I could send you links for that too. So, yeah.
Yes. And congratulations on your PhD.
Oh, yeah, I'm still not quite there. There's still
okay. I shouldn't say that. Okay, but congratulations on the process and the research, because I know what an incredible undertaking it is. And so sending you lots of love and strength for that. And
you've been lovely. I felt very much at home to share what I have to say. And thank you, everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody.
Yeah. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jan. And we will see you all next time. Have a great evening.